And we're back, and you're tuned into Gimme Five here on Gimme Radio, and we are happy to have with us today a living legend. We have Mr. KK Downing, co-founder of the band he departed, Judas Priest, and now with his new band, KKs Priest. Welcome to the show, KK.
Hey, Jet. Thank you very much for having me on, and hello, everyone.
So, KK, before we talk about the new album you released, your memoirs or autobiography in 2018, Heavy Duty Days and Nights in Judas Priest. So why did you want to write a book about yourself at your, and your time in Judas Priest? What were your feelings going into writing this book?
Yeah, well, I guess I'd been asked to write a book so many times, and then, kind of hanging on and waiting around, expecting that I would be back in the band at some point. I thought that I might just do a book, and because everyone knows of me, but I felt that it would be pretty cool if the fans could get to know me a little bit better, I thought the book would be a good opportunity, and also hopefully I would be able to try to put some kind of explanation together as to kind of what happened along the way, really, and I think I was quite pleased with it in the end, because I just thought that also finally it might give people a little bit of hope and inspiration, really, to stick at what they're doing, and even if they meet certain obstacles that get in their way, basically say don't give up, just hang on in there, because Rome wasn't built in a day. And so persevere, be patient, and carry on practicing, working at your art, and hang on in there, and it'll all come good.
And in that book, you recalled a 2009 concert, looking around at your bandmates and thinking this is the last show. What was going through your mind at that time when you were on stage doing that?
Yeah, well, it seemed like we were kind of, I felt in a strange place, really, Jet, because, all my life, things were always getting bigger and better and more hopeful, and everything was more positive, and it was a case of building and surging forward, and, but always trying to reach new goals and basically keep progressing, And then I think really, in 2008, 2009, it seemed to have taken a turn, and I felt that I felt as though a U-turn had kind of happened on the journey that we'd been on, and we're going back to where we came from, and I wasn't happy about it, I felt as though spark had gone, and and people were going through the motions, really, and I didn't like that, and I suppose for that reason, Rob of all people was still hanging on to branches that he'd created along his path, because in 2010 and 2009, 2010, Rob was still very prolific, recording albums and doing his own world tours, in 2010, Rob released, certainly in the space of 13 to 14 months, released 2 studio albums and did his own world tour, and I'm thinking, is this what Rob's doing? Is he continuing to pave his own path for the future, and that's why at the end of 2010, I just didn't think that we all decided to retire. We all decided to end the band. And I decided not to do that farewell tour because I didn't really believe that I was going to enjoy the last tour of my career, and I didn't want to do it. I didn't really realize the guys would carry on for another 10 years.
Well, I was going to say, to be honest, we all thought those were the last shows for Judas Priest, and I even remember doing a farewell to Priest radio show in 2010 after it was all announced. But, well...
Yeah. I mean, but having said all that, a couple of months later, I did change my mind. But there's lots of disinformation that went out, and I was really unhappy about that. What was being said, that I retired to look after my golf course. None of that was true. I had professional people managing a golf course that had been already open for 6 years. The real reasons I left, are reasons that the other guys didn't want to actually go public with,
Right.
So it was an easy cop-out for them just to say I'd retired, But I did. I was speaking to Ian, I had him send me over the set list for the farewell tour, but they still went ahead and made the press release that I'd retired. And then I was really angry. Then I sent him a letter giving everybody the real reasons, why I made the decision that I did, and now when I look back on it, it was the right decision, because those guys were quite happy to oust me anyway, so, and certainly never have me back in the following 10 years, even when there was opportunities to have me back, But now, I'm in a good place. I've got a new lease of life, new energy. I now know what freedom really is, so I can continue to create and perform, with guys that are totally dedicated, hungry, and we want to go forward with new material, new band, new concerts, and I think it's a healthy thing, really, Chet, so...
Absolutely.
Watch this space. It's a good one, and it's totally energized.
What led up to you wanting to form KKs Priest?
Sorry?
What led up to you wanting to form KKs Priest? We're getting on with KKs Priest now.
Yeah, well, like I say, I was expecting to, at some point, go back into the band. But like I say, I started to play a couple of concerts. So I had to, again, approach the band and say, are you absolutely positive the door's closed? And they confirmed in writing that it was definitely closed, again in 2019. So I'm thinking, right, well, that's it then. I'll move forward. I'll write an album, put the band together, and we'll move forward. And I'm going to put together KK's Priest because I'd always been a priest all of my life since 1969, and I'm not going to throw my legacy and heritage and everything away. No. I'm going to take it with me into the future, into the present, and into the future. And that's what I've done, and I think quite rightfully because, there's guys on the stage that I've never met, calling themselves a priest, so if they can, I certainly can.
Absolutely. And tell us about putting this band together now, KK. Getting the members for the band and putting that all together to make it as great as it is.
Yeah, well, it was, like I say, I could have probably, as I said in my last interview, I could have probably put 12 different bands together with me. But having said that, in fact, I'm lying about that because there's not enough singers that can do.
That is true.
Really, that can do what's required. Really, I mean, we'd have to say Rob Ripper. There's Ralph. There's obviously Ralph Shapers, and there's a couple of other guys. But really, guys that can do, what Ripper can do now. Still, even now, I think we have to agree. Obviously, I mean, Rob's still out there and doing a great job, but it's not like it was now that he's 70. It's not like it was, back in the day. But, but Ripper can still get out there and do what's required. So that's fantastic, really, that we can, there's no restrictions on what we can do. So Ripper, obviously, I know him. We recorded together. We've toured together. He's the big gun in metal vocals, and so he was the obvious choice. And then, I mean, Tony's a great bass player. He's been out there. Tony can do a lot of things. He's a producer in his own right. He's an engineer in his own right. He does out front mixing and stuff like that for the main guys. But, Tony was the main choice because he's a great guy. I know he's dedicated, loves it, and he's a great bass player. And AJ grew up. He saw his first metal concert was watching me and Ripper on stage in Birmingham.
Wow. On
the Jugulator tour. He was just 17 then, and I've known him for a long time. And now he's become a great guitar player. I like the way he plays, the way he looks, and the way he performs. And then we went ahead and found Sean Alg from San Diego, who's a kick-ass drummer for sure. Obviously, we'd hear Mark Les to do the job, but he had sustained a wrist injury, so we couldn't put him in the studio for 6 or 7 hours a day. But Les is going to join us on tour anyway and play some songs with us. So, yeah, we're all fired up and ready to go. And we're definitely looking forward to coming to a town near you, wherever you are.
Now, did you already have songs written prior to putting the band together that you used on the new album? And were you the main writer for at least this album?
Yeah, I did, because in November, after we did the show, all the guys went back to the States, and Christmas came about, and that Christmas is always a good time for me to either spring clean the house or write some songs. So I decided to write some songs, and so I shut myself away. And within a week, I had the backbone of all of the songs, so I was happy with that, because I felt very comfortable that the content was there, and I felt very strong then. So I was able to call everybody up and say, "Do you know what, guys? We can do a band here. It's better to do it that way around rather than end up with potentially egg on your face. Okay, we've got the band, a bit like the Blues Brothers, but where are the songs? We don't have any songs." So that's how it happened, really.
Tell us a little bit about the album then, KK, musically, and what were you kind of feeling when writing these songs now for your band? Because it sounds like you were like bursting with music to write.
Yeah, I just switched on to total autopilot, and like I say, and I just let it come, picked up the guitar and I was just bashing it out, really, and as I said, once I'd made the decision to do what I did, I got pretty excited about the whole thing, so much so that I got stuck into, lyrics and melodies and stuff like that, because I was on my own, and I just wanted to hear more and more how the songs would sound definitively, and just put down some demos, and so that's what I did,
And how did you?
So I feel very comfortable, with lyrics and and stuff like that, and people are always going to have a dig. Some of the people will dig, but I don't care what they say, because the message is in this record. I don't care what people say. It's loud and proud. We're very, I'm very proud of classic and true metal, and that's a big part of it. I mean, if you look at all the great songs now that I've been involved with writing, whether it's, Turbo Lover, Hot Rockin', Heading Out to the Highway, or there's loads of songs that people could say, you know, oh yeah, man, but those songs are kind of old-fashioned. They were back in the day, you know. That nobody says that the lyrics are old-fashioned or cheesy on those songs. They're just revered as classics.
Sure.
So, you know, I'm all for producing modern-day classics. If hopefully that's what they are. So, you know, but yeah, I mean, the whole album really is pretty consistent with what I've done all my life with producing songs, you know, writing and producing songs. And I think that's it's what I do naturally, and it's where it's at.
And it must have felt pretty good for you to be able to do all this with all this freedom and nobody to answer to but yourself.
It's exactly that. I'm the wild animal let out on the cage with this one, you know, and I'm thinking I've only now rediscovered how good it is, because I was pretty much the sole writer back in the day, you know, when we were just a four-piece, you know, but having said that, you know, I welcomed, you know, doing it with Al Atkins and Rob along the way with some songs. You know, other than that, it was just me. So I've rediscovered that now, and it does feel good.
What was it like hearing Tim sing a KKs Priest song for the first time?
Well, awesome, you know, because obviously, you know, we've got the demos, and then we've got Ripper doing it, you know. So it was a wonderful day, really, to get Ripper over and lay some songs down. You know, it was a great feeling.
So, have you guys played out at all yet?
No, we've just been together. Luckily, we were able to together and do the last two videos, and it was so what's the word? I mean, it was frustrating, really, not to be able to obviously do lip syncs and stuff, but not pound it out live in front of an audience. But having said that, it was very good for us to give us a very good taste of what it would be like, you know, to perform together as a band. So we are totally ready to go whenever we can push that button.
Now, have you decided how you wanted to present your live performances yet?
Yeah, well, you know, I can only do it one way yet, you know. Only one way. But everybody's seen me on the big stages with the big production and performing the way that you know, I would want the band to perform. And I think that's what, you know, if anything, we'll be taking a step back in time, you know, a decade or two or maybe more. And that's how I expect the band to perform. And I hope the fans will be with us, because, you know, we want to be as one, you know, because we're musicians on the stage, but we're also fans, music fans, and it's the same in the audience. There's so many musicians in the audience these days, so we can celebrate, we can rejoice in everything, and we can present KKs Priest. We've got so much to offer. We can play stuff from archive, you know, catalogues, and obviously we can do KKs Priest material, we can do Ripper era material, and we're going to have a good time doing all of this stuff, and it's just going to be a massive dilemma as to what will be in the set list, but we can mix and match and change it about, because we're never going to get it right, not for everybody. You know, it's going to be you know, it's going to be something that we're going to have to keep moving about, I think, you know.
And do you guys have any plans when, you know, do you have anything planned or any kind of tours? I know with all this stuff that's going on, it's kind of hard.
Well, yeah, we had tours booked last year and this year, but they've been cancelled. So I guess we're waiting now. I think it makes sense to keep working hard, promoting the record. The record will be out on October the 1st, which is tremendously exciting. So I think we'll see how everything goes there, wait for the right tour to come along. It's still all a bit precarious out there, but if the right tour comes along, all the promoters around the world, listen up. You know, we're ready to go at any time you're ready to have us.
And like you said, the album comes out October 1st. So what are some of the pre-orders available? I know you got some cool stuff. You got that scroll and some other things. Tell us about that stuff.
Yeah, but we're adding more to it.
Oh, boy.
Just been talking about to the merchandise company and the label now about adding some stuff that would be expected. So we're looking to get more and more, increase more and more cool stuff for everyone. So, you know, everybody please visit KKSPrest.com and check out some cool stuff.
And there is a lot of cool stuff. And if you have even more, it's great for collectors and fans. And it's some interesting things. When I saw that scroll, I'm like, that is so cool. One must have it. And especially for collectors, you know, it's great.
It's nice. I still don't have mine yet, but hopefully it's in the post.
So KK also owns a venue called KKs Steel Mill, back up and running with some great acts lined up, MSG, Enduro, and Sepultura Crowbar. How long have you been running that venue?
Yeah, it's really, really cool to be the ambassador of such a cool venue. It's a big venue. Cheap Trick had come in. The venue opened up a couple of years back now with Skid Row and a bunch of bands. So, yeah. It's growing and growing. Unfortunately, COVID stopped the thing from growing, but we're going to pick it up now. It's opening up again in a few days' time, you know. So yeah, watch that space as well and tune in to KK Steel Mill, you know, and see what bands are coming your way.
Well, looks like you got your hands full, so you'll be staying out of trouble then, KK.
Yeah, staying out of trouble. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to getting back on tour again and revisiting some of the wonderful towns and cities across the world and saying hello to a lot of people, a lot of fans. It's been a long time coming, so hopefully you'll be there with us on this journey. Absolutely. And hope to see you real soon.
As soon as you come over here, KK, I'll be there.
Yeah, for sure. Look forward to seeing you.
And probably most of our listeners as well.
Absolutely.
And so there you guys have it. KK's Priest have a new album out October 1st called Sermons of the Sinner. We'll be hearing a few tracks on the show. And KK, thank you so much for taking the time to do a little interview with us here today. And we wish you all the best.
Jess, it's an absolute pleasure. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to say a big hello to all the fans. And I know everyone's been real patient. But, yeah, hopefully we'll come out and rock it